In today's video, I'm going to be arranging some gorgeous sunflowers. If you want to learn how to create a design just like this, then you need to keep watching. Welcome back to another tutorial. Now we're looking today at a more modern design. I've done quite a lot of traditional designs over the last couple of weeks, some in environmentally friendly foam and lots in wire netting. So we're looking today at doing something more simple and a little bit more contemporary, which links quite well with the online course that's due to start on the 8th of July. I've got a 5-week or a 5-lesson course. You can either buy it as a full 5-week course or you can buy it as individual lessons, and you'll find more details of that over on the website, but it's a contemporary look at floral design. Now it's sunflower season. Technically it is the summer, although here in Wales we haven't seen a great deal of sunshine, and I'm going to choose today to use the very popular sunflower. It has already been cut short because I did use it in the contemporary course that we've been filming, but it's a really nice opportunity for me to be able to use them. And I'm going to pair them with some bold textures and some gorgeous foliage. So hopefully you're going to enjoy this one. Let's get stuck into today's design. Now I'm going to start by creating some upright placements. I've got these wonderful pieces of bark. We might have used these before. And what I've done here is I've glued them both onto some kebab sticks to give me some support. And my mechanics today is the environmentally friendly Fiber Flora by Smithers Oasis. So it's that foam that's a little bit hard to work with. I am using it more and more, so I am improving my skills and I am getting better at working with it. But it's one that's quite tricky when you first work with it because it crumbles and disintegrates quite easily. Now, if you haven't seen Fiber Flora before, this is the one by Smithers Oasis. It is very similar to Agro Wool, which is by another company. If you have sensitive skin, I would suggest wearing gloves because it does have that quite itchy feel to it that you get when you touch insulation that you might have in your loft. Now, it's difficult to work with if you try and arrange flowers in at the sides. So today I've used it where I know I'm only going to place flowers in at the top. So I've cut it in half so it fits in my container, and I've used a small little wedge section underneath to lift it up. I haven't got a huge amount of floral foam. Just fills the container quite neatly, and I've surrounded that with some ordinary, very organic, natural moss because I'm hoping that will prevent the foam from splaying out. It worked quite well in the previous video that I think I might have done last week. So if you haven't experienced the Fiber Floral before, you can pop back and have a look at that tutorial as well. Now these pieces are going to firmly attach into that foam there at the bottom, and I'm going to place them alongside one another so we get two almost sort of parallel placements. You're looking at the back, that is the front, and that's going to give me a nice bit of height in today's arrangement. Now I do have one sunflower that's quite tall, but the rest of them are short because they've been cut down previously. And to give me some height and a bit of contrast against those two pieces of bark, I'm going to use the very lovely palm. Now this one is a Pheonix palm. This I've got here in the workshop because we're using it in floral designs this week. Sometimes you can get this in a mixed bunch in the supermarket. And this one is a little bit wide. It's a bit too heavy for me, so I'm just going to play around and see where I think it's going to be best suited. I don't want to cut it down because I think it's going to spoil it and it'll also prevent me using it again. I'm just going to shorten it and place it behind so it gives me a little depth and a nice bit of grouping there of my foliage. So that's the two palms, and if you've been following me for a while, then you'll know that an arrangement should have height, depth and width to make it three-dimensional. And if you haven't been following me for a while, then welcome to today's video. My name is Sharon, and there's loads of tutorials here on my channel. There's also lessons on the website. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, then now's your opportunity Doesn't cost you anything. And if you hit that notification bell, you'll be told every time I upload a new video, and then you won't miss anything. You won't miss any of these fabulous designs that generally come out on a Sunday afternoon around 3 o'clock. It's a great time. You've just had your Sunday lunch. You can sit down and enjoy a nice little tutorial. And I've just popped in the side there the 2 base leaves that I cut off the larger leaf at the back. And I've also got a dried palm that we buy ready done. But if you're lucky enough to have palms like this growing in your garden, when they're past their best and you're trimming them off the bottom of the palms, then just cut them down and you can use them in dried form. You could also spray paint them, but I think that works quite well with the colours of my base and my lovely sunflower. Now, I've got one that's really tall, and that's going to give me some height. And what I think I'm going to do is create a bit of height behind the pieces of bark, so it can sit quite snugly there in between and slightly to, is that your left as you're looking at it? And then I'm going to cluster the rest of them at the bottom. So we've got that very different effect with the sunflowers grouped together on one side and a little bit of height created as well. Now there are 4 sunflowers. I think I'm only going to use 3. 4 can sometimes make a design look a little bit squared off. And I'm having a slight bit of difficulty, that's better, getting the sunflowers in. Group them at the bottom there and then one at the top, which gives you what we would call a 3/5/8 proportion, rather than those very traditional proportions where we evenly balance things out. And if you want to know more about those proportions, then you need to be on that course, because I talk it through in each week's session. Now this one is commonly known as biddy buttons or Craspedia. Will grow in the UK if you've got a polytunnel or you're in a warmer part of the country. I buy these in from the Florist supplies, and that's going to help just create a bit of height there. It gives me a different contrast in front of that nice bit of bark, and it's a really bright colour. And one of the reasons that I did choose the bark was because the centre of the sunflower is that really dark brown. So we get a nice linking colour between the two. And I've really got a very basic selection of flowers. I've got 3 sunflowers, 3 little Craspedia, which have already been caught short. They haven't been caught short, they've been cut short. So I can't make those longer, but they will snuggle in there on the left-hand side. And that creates the same effect. I've got this triangle affair rather than spreading them out equally. And if you're familiar with the videos that I do, I quite often encourage you to collect houseplants because you get lots of foliage from a houseplant. This is actually an Anthurium plant, and you get that lovely spear-shaped or heart-shaped leaf. And that's going to work so well just tucked under those 2 little Craspedia, because it's going to make them pop and show more clearly. If we turn it all the way around, there's no foam visible at the back, and that's because I placed the foam in below the level of my container before I started, so I don't have to worry about overfilling with loads of different types of greenery. Everything there is quite neat. And I'm just going to finish off with some Lagurus, or the bunny tails, and this is a beige colour. Let's just, the only problem with these is they tend to get a little bit tangled up. So we're going to get a cluster of these. And what I really liked about these, this is their natural colour when they start to dry, but they go so well, they link so well with that dried palm leaf. So it's going to help link the colour onto the other side of the arrangement. And I'm going to do a little cluster up tall. They've gone into the foam quite well. I was a bit concerned that they weren't going to go in quite as well as I would like them to. And then I'm going to do a second cluster of them a little lower down. So we'll turn that round for you to see. A little cluster up high, which helps to bring some height and link with that colour on the bottom. I'm just going to rearrange these so the heads aren't all finishing in the same position. And then I'm going to put them over onto the same side but slightly lower down. And they are a bit trickier to get into the Fiber Flora because it's much softer, but I could help myself by wiring those if need be. They have gone in eventually. I just need to separate them off so the group isn't quite so close together. So if you look at it now, they're directly underneath one another, and I'd rather this group more over to the right. So I'm gonna manhandle them a little bit while I get, that's better, when I get them over. So now they're splayed out slightly and they give a nicer shape and a nicer overall finish to the arrangement. Now I know you traditional ones out there would really like me to put a flower in here because then I've got that linked line down through the front, but I'm not going to do it because contemporary floral design has flowers in a separate position following different guidelines. So I'm going to leave it where it is. And I don't think that needs anything else. There is no foam visible. There is interest on both sides of the arrangement. It's what we would call asymmetric because it's not balanced on either side. And that's got to be one of the quickest videos I've ever done. And on that note, you can also comment on, do you like quicker videos or do you like the more in-depth full videos that last maybe 25 minutes? Hopefully that's cheered you up. We haven't seen much sun here in the UK, but that for me is a real happy, cheerful floral design. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, then please do so. It really does help other people find us and it helps this incredible channel grow. There are around 13,500 of you at the moment, but we need to find lots more people. And by subscribing and liking the channel really helps me grow. Share with your friends, share in your Facebook groups and your WhatsApp groups, and let's get more people here. Thank you as ever for watching. I look forward to seeing you next week for another tutorial. And if you really want to learn about contemporary floral design, then find the link in the description box and you can participate in that 5-week online course. Thanks for watching and goodbye for now.